Mamy to. Dobry wieczór wszystkim. Cieszę się, że tak licznie. Znaczy nie do końca jestem zaskoczony, tak? Bo marka Clairin jako chyba najbardziej popularna w tej chwili wśród geeków filmowych na całym świecie przyciąga bardzo, bardzo wielu entuzjastów, więc i zarówno tych, którzy się już trochę tą marką opili, w sensie ją poznali, tak? I ją wielbią, oraz tych, którzy chcą ją poznać, bo się nasłuchali różnych mnóstwa rzeczy. Więc po wielu miesiącach starań o to, abyśmy zrobili tą degustację w końcu z tą marką, w końcu się udało. Bardzo, bardzo się z tego cieszę. Nie bez bólu się to odbyło, więc mam nadzieję, że Wam się spodoba. Lejce oddaję Daniele Biondi jako takiemu, ja przynajmniej go tak postrzegam, jako takiego naczelnego chemika, profesora firmy Lamazon Vellier. Gościu po prostu, e, z nim będzie problem, żeby go zatrzymać. Zobaczycie, tak? Jak zacznie gadać, to będzie problem, żeby go zatrzymać. Więc życzę udanej zabawy. Daniele, the power is yours. Let's start the meeting.
Yeah, thank you, Chris, and always a pleasure. How Poland, like Madonna was saying, how Poland, how are you? Are you hot? Uh, no, again, it's always a pleasure to spend 4 or 5 hours talking about Clairin. No, I'm joking. I saw that you put together a lot of, the whole lineup basically. So great. And let me make a short introduction about what represent Clairin, and then we go to Haiti, and then we go to the tasting. I recognize some of you there, but I don't know if it's familiar, what is Clairin for all of you, or maybe it's, if you tried already, or it's really the first time you try a Clairin. I hope yes, because first time you never forget. So it's very unconventional kind of rum, of sugarcane spirit, let's say. I don't like to call Clairin rum. So let me share the presentation here. I hope you like it. I will show you a lot of pictures. Tell me, Chris, is it big enough?
Yeah, if you do a full screen on your laptop, will be better, I think.
Okay. Don't worry. Okay. So basically, 2 minutes about what is La Maison and Vellier, guys, before, because I don't know if you are all familiar what is a joint venture basically between La Maison Whisky, so very famous whiskey company, in France, but famous in the world, let's say, but based in France. It's the company behind a lot of whiskey bottling you may know or you love. I hope you love whiskey, not only sugarcane. And also, again, is the company that organized Whiskey Live Paris. So I always mention this because it's a I think pretty important weekend. And end of September, if you want to come to Paris, is probably the best event in the world maybe now. And also they have 3 shops, so if you come to Paris you will have chance to go to Maison de Whisky, the shop, the rum shop also, and also to the Golden Promise if you want, which is a whiskey bar with a crazy selection, in the very center of Paris. The other half of the company is Vellier. Okay, so again, is a French-Italian joint venture. Vellier is the rum side of the company. I'm pretty sure you guys know what is Vellier, or you mentioned Vellier. I worked like 8 years personally for Vellier before moving to the new company. The company is actually is carrying the portfolio, you may know. So we are the company behind Hampden, Jamaica. The company are doing the research of Clairin that we will share today. Then we produce Veritas. We do a lot of co-bottlings, let's say, with many producers in the Caribbean. So Habitation Belier down here is the range. I'm sure you know, is a collection, let's say, of rums that we bottle in partnership with pot still distilleries, and then we do a lot of other stuff. I'm sure you know Caroni. You know the bottlings we do together with Foursquare Distillery in Barbados. Here are some examples. So we love to do a lot of research, okay? And we are the only, let's say, co-bottler, okay? I always spend 1 minute on this because we are not we have two distilleries actually, one in Guadeloupe and one in Haiti. So the distillery produced in Providence, but we are not precisely producers, okay? We are bottler, but let's say that we are not an independent bottler like all the others, because let's say that all our bottlings are actually made in partnership with the distilleries. So tropical aging, first of all, because all our bottles aged in the warehouse of the distillery, but also we do again a lot of research, a lot of sharing the ideas with the distilleries. So that's why we are a co-bottler, let's say. Then today we will speak about Haiti. This is me. Whatever, it's 20 years I do this kind of stuff. So if you please don't let me do a monologue. If you have any question, I mean, this today I think is the right moment. So let's go to the Caribbean. Okay, before Christoph tell me that I speak too much before drinking. So let's go to the Caribbean. Why is it important to understand the Caribbean before Haiti? Because today there are around 60 distilleries in the Caribbean, in 20, 25 different countries, okay? And most of the distilleries are quite big plants, you know? Let's say that the situation of today of these 60 distilleries is a situation of small industries or huge industries, okay? But let's say that they are all the blue dots here in the map, they are all actually structured plants, you know, doing juice or molasses. But it's a situation that over the last couple of centuries, distilleries were very small. I'm sure you know, not a long time ago, completely not industrial. And then in the last 100 years, or let's say after the Second War, most of the distilleries had to close, okay, and only the big ones remained operating, and that's why today there are only, let's say, only 60. So I put here some charts. I'm sure you know what we consider like the Latin style of rum. So Cuba, Dominican Republic, Venezuela, you know, Central America. In these countries, rum is light, you know, in terms of body, and rum is quite big distilleries. You can imagine Havana. Sorry. Okay, in Cuba, there is one distillery only, obviously massive. Dominican Republic, there are two only. In Puerto Rico, there are two main distillery and some small other stuff. And Central America, you know, one in Panama, one in Nicaragua. So distilleries are very few, but very big, okay, in the Latin countries. And then I put here in blue what is so-called, you know, the British heritage of rum. So rums in Jamaica, Barbados, here, Trinidad or Guyana, Demerara rams, and some other islands. In these islands, they produce rum in a very artisanal, more artisanal way, let's say. That's why some of these distilleries still have like pot stills, okay? And so the style of the rum is always a medium body or full body, for example, if we speak about Jamaica. And then there are two islands here, I'm sure you know, the Martinique and Guadeloupe. They have 8 distilleries, both of them, so 16 in total. And this rum is made from the pure juice. It's not made from the molasses like the other two. It's made from the juice. It's called agricole. It's like an agricultural product, so it's a seasonal product, because using the juice means that you can, you have to ferment and distill the raw material during the harvest season, So you cannot be a massive producer because you cannot produce 12 months per year. It's like an agricultural driven, kind of production. So these are the 3 main. I'm sure you heard about these 3 main, styles of rum, because these 3 provenances are pretty coherent with, the final liquid. Okay, as we said. But today we basically go in the middle of this region. Okay, you see only 5 blue dots because are my 5 the 5 distilleries you have in your glasses now. But it's true that in Haiti, due to the story I will tell you today, in Haiti there are not only those 5. There are probably nobody knows how many, let's say hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of distilleries. Okay, distilleries are not big plants, but distilleries are still the old style of very small and very ancestral, we will say, kind of productions. And also the rum that is called Clairin, again, in Haiti. This is the definition in the local Creole language, the definition of rum. In Haiti, again, is the only country where this kind of liquid you have in the glass is still existing in the Caribbean. Why I say still existing? Because for a historical reason that now I show you, this kind of concentration of the last couple of centuries, let's say, and industrialization and, bigger scale and more structured plants to produce more volume, and a more modern kind of rum. So this process never happened. So the reason is historical, obviously. It's very important to understand in 1 second what happened. Haiti is the only country where the African slaves, deported by the French, by the British, but all the colonists, let's say, 2 centuries ago in 1804, they rebelled, against the French. The French were there on the whole island, Haiti, and Saint-Domingue, was the name. So the French were there, but actually was the only island where the slaves managed to make a revolution and managed to win, against the French. They pulled out the French from the island. They took the power. And so basically in this side of the Hispaniola is the name of the island, okay, divided by Dominican Republic and Haiti. So it's the only island where in some way getting the power and nobody tried to colonize. So it's 2 centuries that it's basically a piece of Africa in the middle of the Caribbean, very close to to Cuba. Miami is up here, out from my screen. Dominican Republic, Jamaica is really in the middle of the region. there is a place that is completely different than any other, and is completely more African than Africa, also in some way. I put some other charts to let you understand that this kind of old style of rum production, so completely not structured. I will show you that they don't even bottle, they don't age, they don't make daiquiri or mojito. Okay, they just distill the sugarcane. Is agricole, obviously. I mean, it's from the juice, and they just drink like this. Something like this happened. I found in all my trips, I found some of the ancestral producer of sugarcane spirit not really legal, to be honest, but don't tell anybody, even if you are recording, Chris. Anyway, here in Puerto Rico, on the mountains, you can find some producers that do pitorro, they call it, okay, not Clairin, not rum, they call it pitorro. In St. Kitts, there are still some producers on the mountains doing like rum in a very ancestral way. And also in Trinidad, for example, in Trinidad, they call it babash. Okay, it's a sort of moonshiner, let's say. It's what remained culturally and traditionally in the countryside to basically ferment the juice of the cane and to distill and to drink. Okay, this is very interesting because it's like the roots. It's the grandfather of all the rums we know. If we go out from the Caribbean, we find like producers very ancestral like this in Central America, Mexico. Ecuador is full of sugarcane. You may know a bottle we that I showed before. El Amparo is the name, which is another unaged rum that we found. You know, in all our research is really on the coast, on the west coast of Ecuador. Peru also is full of sugarcane, and actually there are a lot of producers doing boiling the juice and producing an ancestral kind of sugarcane spirit. Cachaça, obviously. You may know that in Brazil, also because Brazil is huge, there are, they say, more than 40,000 stills, okay, producing what is the sugarcane spirit. You know, cachaça is just one of the names of this product. And then last map before going to Haiti, the same happened in Africa. You know, that's why now many producers are researching in Africa, including us. You know, Ghana, Cameroon, full of sugarcane. India, Southeast Asia is full of sugarcane. I was in Indonesia a few weeks ago, and in Philippines last week, and actually there is a lot of sugarcane, and so people ferment and distill the juice even before the Caribbean. Okay, but what we know of rum is 90% the Caribbean region, and so sometimes we just don't realize that the rum of the ancient time is still existing, is still there. Everybody distill everything in this planet, luckily. And so there are a lot of good stuff all over the world. It's enough to search them. So going to Haiti, I want to show you some pictures. Okay. Through the pictures of Haiti, and this is a picture of Haiti, the Caribbean. This is you cannot imagine, but this is a picture of the Caribbean of 2-3 years ago. Okay, Haiti is really, when I say more Africa than Africa, it's true. There are not a lot of infrastructure. The country is considered one of the poorest also in the Western Hemisphere, but you know it's poor in terms of economy. Okay, the capital is very problematic. Okay, politically and economically. But when you leave the capital and you go in the countryside, you really see like a Caribbean world completely natural, completely virgin, let's say, untouched, okay, from any kind of infrastructure, any kind of modernization. Beautiful, it is the paradise, okay, completely virgin. Again, there are millions of miles of beach like this with no hotels. There is no tourism. There is nobody go there due to maybe the political situation. But again, it's true that when you leave the capital and you go to the countryside, you see like the paradise. Okay. So with Luca Gargano, years ago, like 2012, we've been there for a very simple reason. We love the Caribbean. We know all the distilleries, as we said, and we work with many of them. So years ago, we just thought, what the Haitian people drink? Okay, this is the question. It's a picture of the cockfighting of Saturday morning. I won once. Also, voodoo is a voodoo country. It's a completely different culture than all the other Caribbean. And again, we've been there because you may know a distillery called Barbancourt, which is pretty famous. I don't know in Europe or in Poland, but actually Barbancourt is quite a big plant, and it's in the capital. So let's say that Barbancourt, we can consider Barbancourt one of the 60 structured distilleries in the Caribbean. But at that time, we knew Barbancourt and we like also the liquid, why not? But it was impossible that 9 million people in Haiti, they drink Barbancourt. There is not enough Barbancourt, for them. And so that's why we went there, because we were sure that something was existing. Even if it was not on Google. I always love to say that before our first trip, the Clairin was actually not on Google. As Luca said, we go beyond Google sometimes. So these are some images. Again, it's really an African environment. But I don't know who of you have been in the Caribbean, but maybe in Dominican Republic, in the same island, guys, if you go, you have a club party and you drink Cuba Libre or Santo Libre, they call it in Santo Domingo. So it's a completely different planet, even if it's the same island. I always love to say that is the paradise of also the biodiversity. Imagine a country not colonized. That's the point. It means that nobody brought the last 2 centuries of industrialization, or maybe the last 2 centuries of chemicals, okay, pesticides, fertilizers, and all the industrial agronomy, that is existing in all the rest of the Caribbean, that are French or are British or are Europeans in general. So thousands, or let's say hundreds of varieties of whatever, mango, lime, tomato. It's really unbelievable what you can find in Haiti in terms of biodiversity. Or obviously also the sugar cane. This is sugar, for example. They still produce sugar as in the countryside, boiling really the juice on some pans, with a direct fire, and they produce the most ancestral sugar that is put like in this kind of palm tubes, okay, and then cut in slice and sold to the market. But let's go to the sugar cane. So in a country like this, sugar cane is everywhere. And also the varieties of the sugar cane present in Haiti are 10 times or more, more diverse than all the rest of the Caribbean together, okay? Where, as you may know, the varieties of sugarcane are, I don't know, 10, okay, in the Caribbean. No more than 8 or 10 used by all the producers because are hybrids, okay, are not the endemic varieties, are hybrids made by the agronomical industry, okay. This is a distillery, okay. Obviously, it's not as you are used to kind of images like this, but what happened is that every time we go, and the first time you rent a jeep, in the airport. The airport of Haiti 12 years ago, the first stuff I saw in the terminal was a cow. Okay, so was like another planet. Okay, and incredible kind of environment. Anyway, there was Avis, Avis to rent a jeep, and actually we rented a jeep, and we started driving out from the capital, and we saw immediately some donkeys, bringing the sugar cane, or like some bulls, bringing the sugar cane. And so we started following this kind of how you say, chariots. And we found distilleries like this. You find distilleries even with the window down of the jeep, because every village basically still had a distillery. Okay, this is a distillery, for example. This is the kind of situation you find. Imagine that you don't produce Clairin to make a bottle, to make a label, and to sell to last port in Poland, and you guys buy from last port in Poland. Okay, this is the normal, how can I say, market of spirits. Okay, this is a modern market of spirits. Okay, a distillery distill, bottle, put the label, put in the market, and make the margin, and everybody happy. Okay, this is modern. Long time ago, distillation was basically, or now in Haiti, distillation is for themselves. Every village has one guy which is in charge of the booze for the village. In this case, is Michel Sajous, for example, that is the first that we are going to try now. Imagine you are in a village, you live in the village of Michel Sajous. Sajous is probably your uncle or your friend or your cousin, because villages are super small. And again, Sajous is the guy in the village that is in charge of distilling the sugarcane spirit for the consumption of the village. Okay, then you can find shacks like these almost everywhere, every village, and then you can also find distilleries. I will show you Sajous and Babal and Casimir that are a bit more structured. Okay, not easy to make business with them, with guys like this. What is cool is that Clairin, village by village, is a collective, how can I say, consciousness. There is no competition. You have to completely switch to another mindset. There is not really a competition because there is not a brand. So Clairin is the common juice, for everybody of the village to drink. So every village has maybe three, four, five, six, or 1 or 10 distilleries. Okay, and when I know village by village, I mean, you drive the jeep, you stop, you have a beer and a chicken, okay, and you find the lady selling the chicken that has these kind of tanks with Clairin, okay, and Clairin is maybe the Clairin of the shack number 1 or number 2 or number 3. Nobody really care. Clairin of the village is good, is probably the same sugarcane, is probably the same savoir-faire, the same technique. And so, there is no competition. It's kind of a common good, okay? So just before drinking, cheers, by the way. I have a Mai Tai, not bad. Anyway, before, let me recap. I go fast here, and then if you want, we can go deeper, producer by producer. But let's say that Clairin, in general, is the grandfather of all the rums, as we said. He is the only one remained natural, while all the others became a little bit industrial. Okay, consider I love all the rums in this planet, but let me say industrial means that are again small or big industries that do their job and they do the modern business model, let's say. Okay, let me tell you that 2 centuries ago, if we can jump back in 1804, also in Jamaica and in Barbados and in Cuba and in Venezuela and whatever, in all the islands, rum was like Clairin today, okay? But then they became modern. Cuba became Cuba, Jamaica became a British, Martinique became French, and so the column still, the pot still, the different evolution of the production. So Clairin is basically the only one that never modernized. Okay, so in your 5 glasses, you basically have the rum of 2 centuries ago. Let's say can be Sajus or Vaval, but let me what Clairin represents is really the last uh, rum remained completely natural and completely ancestral. Okay, when I say natural, means that first of all, sugarcane varieties are not hybrids, as we said. Okay, there are millions of not millions. There are like dozens and dozens or hundreds of varieties. Okay, very difficult to understand. Everything is polyculture, is wild. Okay, it's not monoculture. Sugarcane, mango, banana, corn, like in a normal Caribbean. It's basically wild. I mean, so the land, the earth is much, is richer. Okay. Obviously, it's organic. No pesticide, no fertilizer, nothing like that. The harvest is by hand, by machete. Consider that the production of Clairin is a social stuff. So it's pretty important that they bring, the sugarcane by donkeys or by cows or bulls and stuff like that. Because in the economy of a village like this, there is a family that has the cows, the family that are expert in cutting the cane with machete. So every distillery has a completely a complete process where all the families are involved. So this is a unique kind of economical balance. Okay, so make it more modern will in some way will destroy. Okay, as happened in the other islands. Okay, so this is a nice image of the milling, of how they crash. There are still like a lot of mills in Haiti in wood like this, and this is a technique that disappeared, 2 centuries ago, obviously. With the cows turning around, and the guy basically is putting the sugar cane in this wooden roll in between here, and so there is no, in many villages, there is no electricity, obviously, so they have to use this old way. The juice is pure, obviously. There is no acidification, there is no pH control, there is nothing like this. So it's the purest existing cane juice, for the rum production. Fermentation is wild, obviously. There is no selected yeasts, there is no Saccharomyces, or there is no Canyamax, or all those kind of yeasts that all the producer use. And so, it's the airborne yeast. When the juice goes into the vat, basically the guy waits and start bubbling. This is the old style. It's pretty stupid to ask to a distiller how long is the fermentation, and I did it, and because he told me I really don't know how long is the fermentation. I mean, he said, this was Casimir. He said, when stop bubbling, it's over. Perfetto. Okay. So Clairin is made with, how can I say, an empirical skill. Okay. It's a matter of sensibility. They do it from generations, and trust me, it's very good. Okay. Distillation also very interesting. The kind of still they use for Clairin, and 90% of the producers use the same or more, is a kind of still that the French brought when the French were still there in 1700s. So with the pots, you have a pot still here. You see my mouse, maybe. So the pot still is inside this concrete, this tube of concrete to keep the temperature. Fire, direct fire down, and then the evaporation happen in a discontinuous way, obviously in pot still. This is a preheater of the juice, like a cognac style, all the time. And Clairin is distilled once, it's not distilled twice. Okay, after one distillation, if you have the bottle, I don't know, guys, if you have the bottle or the samples, but if you check the proof, it's 48, 51, 53, 49, whatever. It's changed every time. Every batch actually change. That's why on the label, I may have a bottle somewhere at home. I should. On the label, we wrote Clairin Sajous, master distiller Michel Sajous, from this village, using this variety of sugarcane, and from the harvest 2021. I don't know which one you have there. So very important to understand which harvest, like in the wine, because every batch is slightly different, no? Because the product is completely natural. There is no consistency as the modern world will love. Okay, every batch is slightly different, and they don't give a shit, and me neither. Okay, so it's enough to write the vintage. Also, the proof batch by batch can change as every natural product. Okay, so 45 to 55, more or less, let's say, this is the range. And also, what is very important, guys, this is the only liquid, the only spirit in the world. Let's speak about Sajous. Now we drink Sajous. That never seen a drop of water. Okay. As you may know, every distillery in this world need water, okay, to dilute the raw material, to make the fermentation, water also in the process, and also water at the end to dilute the rum to the proof you want, okay. Clairin, no. Clairin is really the pure juice, not diluted, fermented spontaneously, distilled in this way, and then suck. Go into this plastic something, okay, 200 liters, and then goes to the plastic something. Okay. In the villages, they don't have mixology, they don't have the ice machine, they don't have Netflix, they don't care, guys. When the sun goes down, they drink the tank of Clairin. This is okay. So in some way, I love Clairin, but it's true to say that some way Clairin is the most pure expression of the raw material in all the spirits industry, let's say. Okay, so you have an old variety of sugarcane, completely organic, naturally fermented, and then distilled. So now we drink sajous, and why? I mean, if you drink sajous, is the spirit of that sugarcane. That's it. There is nothing added by the human. Okay, this is distillation. This is supposed to be distillation. Okay, so basically, in 2000 again and 12, we've been there. We started traveling all over the. I show you a map now, and then we started speaking with Monsieur Sajous, Monsieur Casimir, and Monsieur Vaval. We made the bottle, okay, with Luca. We made the label. We wrote all the stuff, as I told you here, all the details of the pot still proof also, which means proof of the still, so not diluted, completely natural product. And this was 54. This is an old picture, 48, 48. Then we started working with Le Rocher, then I tell you, and then we started working with Samson. Okay. So here some picture. This guy is Sajous. This guy is Casimir. Okay. I love to show the pictures because sometimes I realize that people love Clairin, drink Clairin, but they don't realize that Sajous is a guy. I mean, he's like Christoph. Okay. He's like a Clairin Piasensky, Clairin Villanova, a Clairin Rutkowski. Okay. Is the name of the guy, basically. Okay. So again, I have some videos, but I'm scared that go too slow with the connection. So I show you some pictures, but I invite you guys to go to the new website, which is thespiritofhaiti.com. So Chris, all the videos I was telling you, it's easy. Just to go online, tap, thespiritofhaiti.com, and then you click Sajous, you click Vaval, you click Casimir, you click, because last year we made a shooting, finally, after 10 years. We made a shooting, and so I made an interview, like a script for an interview. And so in those videos, apart that you see the beauty of this land, I mean, incredible natural environment, you see the distillery, there are the drones, you know, going up. And then there is an interview. Basically, Sajous talking about the product, Casimir and Baval, so all the 5 videos of the 5 guys. And since I made the script is very geeky, you know, I love to go a bit geeky sometimes. And so I asked, you know, how the fermentation, or how you do it, what you mix, and all the details. Okay, so I love this chart. Sorry, I always show this chart because Drinks International rated Clairin at the top trending brands. Zack, then number 6, then number 5. So now Clairin is a small producer, big like this. They do 200 liters per day, so it's nothing. So now we are in between Diplomatico and Zacapa, you know, with like 0 budget. And so we are in the future, let's say. So let's take the Jeep. This is the map of the country. You land here in Port-au-Prince, in the capital. Then you take the Jeep and you basically drive all over. There are a lot of villages in this central area, and so a lot of Clairin. A lot of Clairin up here. Cap-Haïtien is the old capital. So a lot of producers, a lot of population, which means a lot of Clairin producers. Okay. Up here also. And not really down here because it's the mountains, very high mountains. And then up here, down here on the west coast, full of Clairin again, full of villages on the coast, especially, and full of Clairin producers. Okay, consider that if you drive from Port-au-Prince to Sajous, you take this road or this road, depends on the conditions. Conditions because it's not asphalt. Okay, it's really Indiana Jones. Okay, and 5-6 hours driving in the crazy environment, and on that day driving, every village you find the Clairin. Trust me, guys. In one day you can find 10 distilleries and try 10 different Clairin if you want to stop. Okay, it's enough to go there, try to speak with them. They don't speak French, honestly, they speak Creole. But you know, Marlboro or Camel cigarette help a lot because they love to exchange Clairin with red Marlboro. So if you go bring a red Marlboro, okay, they think they dream to be Americans, you know, sometimes. So this is basically Saint-Michel de la Talaye. So after 5 hours, we arrived to the village. This is the environment, okay? Like nothing, completely wild. And this is the distillery of Sajous. In the last years, we helped them to build this part and also this other part. Especially on the right here is where we have a second still, modern, that we put like a few years ago to do what you know as Providence. Okay, this is another story. If you want, we can speak about that. So this is the distillery, basically, extremely small. This is the distillery. So the sugarcane arrived here. It's called Chelot Distillery, is his name of Sajous, is the nickname of Sajous in the village. And this guy is Michel Sajous, Chin Chin Michel. So Michel is a lovely guy that he's produced Clairin from a long time. Again, if you check the video, you will see that it's generation that he does that. This is Michel with his team of guys working on the fields, you know, cutting the cane. Ashnell, this guy on the right, is really the master distiller. Let's say master distiller. Okay, this is the sugar cane used. With the sugar cane, I invite you to go to the glass. Okay, sorry, I don't have. Chris didn't send me the glasses. Next time you should. So I don't have the Clairin like you, but I invite you to try Michel Sajous. Can you tell me, Chris, which vintage is?
This
20,
is 2021
21.
with 54.2.
Bravo. Yeah, it's the one we have currently now in stock, and we sell to Lastport, and we sell to you. Okay, so I don't know if it's first time you try Clairin in your life. I don't know. Maybe not, especially some of you that I recognize. I'm so happy to do a lot of Jinkuya, by the way. Okay, to be
Exactly.
No, again, it's cool that you.
Daniele, I have to mention that when I talked with Patrick from the last sport,
Yeah,
we tried to use these vintages which are available on the stock. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why this Sajou is 2021, 2021 also Casimir, Vaval.
yeah, but it's the one I have in
Everything
stock.
is, yeah.
We are receiving the 2022, but again, every year they produce, I mean, they produce every day, okay, in the season. But let's say that every year we collect the liquid. So the story is that years ago, almost immediately, I mean, 2013, so 6 months after, 1 year after, we started, you know, selling to Italy first. and to France with Maison Whiskey. Quantities were very, very small, obviously. Okay, quantity are still very small. Okay, because they just produce 200 liters every day, so super small. And also, they don't give us all the liquid that they produce because they still have to give the liquid to the people of the village. So the production, it's very small, guys. Okay, Sajus or Vaval or Casimir are extremely small production. And let me tell you something. Do you know mezcal? Yes. So mezcal is agave. Okay, it's not sugarcane, obviously, but mezcal is the most similar, the best comparison, with Clairin, because let's say that Clairin for the rum is like a mezcal for tequila. Okay, is the grandfather of tequila. Tequila is the structure, modern way to produce agave spirit. Okay, modern business model, let's say. And mezcal is what the guys still do on the mountains, for themselves. Okay, in the village by village, palenque by palenque. Okay, and actually mezcal is completely natural because up there is not yet like all the chemicals and all the stuff. Even if in Mexico something is starting, unfortunately, there are too many Americans, thirsty, and that's why they are trying to scale up the productions. In Haiti, no, because in Haiti, I mean, nobody go there. After 12 years from the beginning of our project, there are not existing other brands apart one or two. Let's say there are two other projects, a little bit similar to what we do, and actually are friends. And we started with them, this process. But it is pretty dangerous. I mean, it's a pretty a mess. Go to Haiti. That's why nobody do it, and that's why Clairin is still Clairin. Again, you are enjoying, I hope, Michel Sajous, and I love this picture because the day you come to Haiti with me, I hope soon, and we go to the village, and you will chew this sugar cane that is called crystalline, endemic, okay, not hybrid. The taste of the juice of this cane is exactly the taste of Clairin Sajous. This is the spirit, okay? That's why it's called spirit. Is the spirit of this cane. So they actually crashed in this way, it's a diesel mill, like this. This is the Ashnell again, sorry. And this is the steel. Basically, it's the same, it's a similar picture I showed you before with the same design, same system of almost all the Clairin. This is the video, which is beautiful, but we said not to show, but it's amazing, guys. So after this tasting, or I don't know, whatever, on another screen, if you can watch these videos, because are really amazing. Unfortunately, now if I show you, I mean, it's a mess, but are really 3-4 minutes, so you can even watch it anytime. So let's go to the second one. Let's say that Sajous, that's why the reason I put it at first, also for you, maybe next time you have chance to have all the Clairin. I always start with Sajous because Sajous is more agricole. I mean, it's the most similar to a normal, let's say, agricole. I don't know, Nissan or any other official agricole. Okay, because Sajous is 400 meters, so the weather is more fresh. It's less influenced by the atmospheric conditions. Okay, so that's why it's also a bit consistent. Sajus is the most consistent, let's say. Sajus. I mean, you can compare 5 batch of Sajus, for example, and it's always like Sajus, impossible to mistake. Now we go the Route Nationale 2, zack, and we arrive to Vaval.
Sorry, just one question. Is the bottling done on site or in Europe?
On site. On site, yes, because in the capital, again, years ago, we created this company. The Spirit of Haiti actually is the name of the company, together with the local family, okay, that are the guys that now produce Providence with us, okay, in the capital. The very first batch we bottled in Italy, honestly, in 2012, at Capovilla distillery. But immediately after, we decided to implement the bottling line they have there, because the family we work with, they also have a local, let's say they produce a local rum, okay, in the capital. Vieux l'Abbé is the name. Cool. And also they do liqueur, hibiscus liqueur, they do local herbs, they do some stuff. So years ago, we implemented the bottling line. We made some modification because the bottle of Clairin is pretty tall. I mean, we made some work. And now we ship from France the empty bottles. They bottle, they fill, and they label, and they ship back to France. Okay, so in this way, it's 100% Haitian. Okay, it's a mess, honestly. It's more expensive also, let's say, but it's 100% Haitian, because our goal was to create also, I don't know, an income, an economical income to Haiti. Okay. When I said at the beginning that we are not independent bottlers, but we are co-bottler, also Sajus and Baval and Casimir are co-bottling in some way, because everything is made together with Sajus and Baval, you know, and everything remain in Haiti, and the money go to Haiti. Okay, this is pretty important. Okay, in our philosophy, in our way of working. Okay. Then again, we go to Vaval. This is the distillery of Vaval, is in Cavaillon. Beautiful environment also. Is very close to the sea. So Vaval is basically like 2 kilometers or less from the shore, from the sea. So Vaval, it's much more, if you try the liquid, Clairin Vaval, it's a little bit salty. I don't know, it's a little bit mineral, because it's close to the sea. So again, the terroir, you know, the French guys, when they say terroir means that the liquid is the expression of this terroir from this sugarcane, the yeasts in that area, and obviously also the influence of the sea in this case. In the video, if you see the video of Vaval, it's cool because at the end of the video, Fritz Vaval, I mean, Fritz speaks about the influence of the sea, and he also says it's a little bit salem, okay, it's a bit salty. This is the distillery. This is Fritz Vaval, okay, Fritz is top, #1. This is a picture of today, and this is a picture of some years ago. And now it's more hipster a little bit. This is a T-shirt I have at home, right there. Imagine this guy with his picture, with his mobile phone on the picture. So imagine the kind of marketing of these guys, you know. You like it, you text Fritz, I like it. This is the variety. It's called Madame Meuse, completely different. It's much larger. It's yellow. The taste is completely different. It's very little bit salty. It's very, very cool. It's sweet and salty. It's an amazing juice. Is this one, basically. It's a bit bigger and yellow. They crash in a similar way. The Fritz Waval ferment in plastic. These tanks you see behind are where he ferments the juice spontaneously. Plastic is cool, it's smart, because you keep it clean easily. So fermenting in plastic, it's a smart, solution. This is the still. So the still of Waval is the only one that is completely different than all the others in some way, because it's steam, it's not direct fire. He produced the still himself. Okay, that's why, because it's far from, there are mountains there, so it's far from the other villages. There is less contact, with the other villages. And so he had to produce his own still, and he made by steam, not by direct fire, like all the others. So he produced the steam basically in this chaudière, in this heater, and then with bagasse. Everything is made with bagasse, okay, which is the fiber of the cane, the dried fiber of the cane. It's free, that's why. Okay. So again, check the video, is amazing. Fritz is a amazing guy, he's a very proud, guy. And will explain you why he's a little bit salty. Chris, tell me please the vintage again of Waval, if you can, because
Waval is 2022 with 53.3
okay.
ABV.
Interesting. If you have chance, guys, to try other Clairin Waval of previous vintages, that's very interesting. Okay. Consider it is something you cannot do with the normal rams. Normally, ram are consistent, are the same as the previous batch. This is the industrial approach. Okay, with Clairin you can find Waval 2020, Waval 2019, Waval 2018, blah 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 blah, and make a comparison of different batch. If you have a chance to come to Italy, I highly recommend a place called Aguardiente, which is in Marina di Ravenna, in the middle of nowhere, let's say the Adriatic coast. And Jimmy, which is my brother, has in that place probably 60 bottles of Clairin white, which means all the producers and all the vintages of all the producers. And these bottles are open because Jimmy loves to open stuff and share. So if you have chance to go to the ultimate, rum bar in the world, go to Aguardiente, because you can find really everything, including like all the batch of all the Clairin, if you want. Okay, so next. So as we said, Sajous on the mountains, pretty green, pretty vegetal. And Waval, on the contrary, close to the sea, and completely different, very mineral, very salty a bit. Okay, and then we go to Casimir. So we take the jeep and we do basically this small. It looks short, but it takes like 3 hours, because actually there are no roads to go to Haiti, to Barader, sorry, the village of Casimir, Barader. I remember first time, Luca, 10 years ago again, one morning in Haiti, he told me, they told me that Barader, they do Clairin like crazy in Barader. So I was searching Barader on Google Maps and was not on Google Maps. And Luca said, let's go. If it's not on Google, Clairin will be better. Okay. This is the approach, to go beyond the Google Maps. And actually, we arrive on the village. There are no roads. Again, it's a small path, for the donkeys, basically, for the moto taxi. But we went there. First time we bought Clairin Casimir with cash, with dollars, and we brought back 200 liters, the blue plastic drum, in the car, okay? Because at that time, Haiti was no electricity, no internet, obviously, no banks, no nothing. And so the only way to get some Clairin Casimir back was to pay cash and to basically put down, the sofa, how you say, in the car, and drive back 7 hours with 200 liters of Casimir. So if you find Casimir 2012, which is the first batch, this is like this should cost 10 times more than a Caroni. Make an example, because there is nothing, because it comes from another planet, okay? This is the village of Barader. Is pink and green, the whole village. Probably they gave them green and pink paint that day, and so they made the whole village. This is the distillery of Casimir, super small. This is Casimir some years ago. I still show this picture now. Casimir got some kilos more, but I mean, lucky guy. You will see on the video. And this is the cane. The cane is called Hawaii, like the islands, Hawaii Islands in the Pacific. It's many years we are trying to understand if there is a link. Maybe yes. Okay. And also, that's very interesting, Casimir ferments in wood. Okay. Sajus in metal, Raval in plastic, as we said, and Casimir in wood, in wooden vats. Big like these, mango tree wood. He has a forest of mangoes around the distillery, so very easy for him, to cut the mango and to make the vats. Also, you see some lemongrass, you see some ginger, some star anise, stuff like that. And that's interesting also because when we've been there, this is another amazing picture. We found, that Casimir was doing in this way the fermentation, and we said, why you do that, But he was not aware about the rest of the country. Again, consider that at that time, Casimir went in the capital once in his life. Okay, so we are talking about very remote villages. So he didn't know that all the other producers in the country, they don't use to add herbs and spices on the fermentation, but he does it. And everybody in his village, there are 13 distilleries in the village because it's a big village. And everybody do that, okay? But nobody else in the country do that. So it's a crazy, there are a lot of different style of Clairin in Haiti, as you can imagine, because they don't speak each other, there is no a shared knowledge behind the Clairin production. So they do it as the father or the grandfather or the grandfather, okay, who's doing it. So fermentation, again, spontaneous, consider that take a week, normally takes 5 days, 6, 7 days, depends on the condition. And again, this is the still, so direct fire with fibers of the bagasse, or maybe wood, depends what they have available. So how is the Clairin Casimir? I don't know. Clairin Casimir is every batch is like a surprise in some way. Sometimes it's very cheesy, it's very parmesan, I don't know, it's very truffle, mushroom. I don't know. Casimir is really is also different batch by batch, honestly. The video. Please watch the video of Casimir because Casimir is a guy from another planet. The interview started and he explained the history of his life. When I received the video from Haiti, was like 3-4 hours each, because they are not used to interviews. So they spoke about their life, I spoke about the family, so it was amazing. Then we made 3 minutes, but actually I have like 3 hours of each. Next, we go to Monsieur Le Rocher. Le Rocher, I don't remember. Yes, Le Rocher. So we back to the capital. Zack, Port-au-Prince. Then we drive other 4 hours. Depends on the weather, depends on the hurricanes, depends on the rain. And we
Is it safe to drive like that? Just.
What do you mean safe?
Well, I would assume that it's not a very safe country.
Well, around no. So in terms of driving, is not a problem. You just have to be a little bit Indiana Jones. You flat 1 or 2 tires a day. You have always to have like a double gasoline. So it's not like easy driving, honestly. In terms of safety, let's say that from 2012 till the COVID, we always went there with no problems. Easy, very easy. Okay. 2019 started a little bit of riots, a little bit of political problems, honestly. And then the COVID came, and so 2020, and I didn't go, 2021. And what happened is that in 2021 started really the big political problems. They assassinated the president. Haiti is a country that's, my feeling is that since they rebelled 2 centuries ago, and you cannot rebel, the political situation of the country is really forced to remain, anarchic. Okay, because honestly, a country with those political problems in the middle of the Caribbean is good for many countries around, starting from the US, okay, and South America. So it's a country where there is no rules and no infrastructure. So let's say that from 2021 and 2022 now, yes, is dangerous. So that's why we are not going. The capital, I don't know if you heard the news, but the capital is really in civil war. So that's why we are not going, because if they see me like white like this, it's a mess. But it's also true that if you leave the capital and you drive in the countryside, nothing happened. The mess is in the capital. The political problem are in the capital because there are the money in the capital, and the corruption of but when you go in the countryside, they live life as I show you the picture, so in a very natural way. They have the animals, they have the vegetables, they have the economy of every village is super sustainable. So honestly, they are beautiful people and nothing happened. Okay, in the capital, don't go. Okay. So my suggestion, not now, at least. So let's go to Le Rocher. Is asphalt, but this is just at the beginning of the road, and then start to jump. And this is the distillery. It's a little bit larger than the other distilleries. In this case, it's not the name of the guy. The name is Romulus Betel, as you can see on the label. But the distillery is called Le Rocher, like the rocks. Is a passage of the Bible. Actually, Romulus is the brother of the priest of the village. So is in charge of religion and in charge of booze. Consider that the Clairin and the voodoo are very strictly related, as in many culture, okay, different than our European culture. Alcohol opens the door of the perception, let's say. And so the link between Clairin and the voodoo ceremonies and the voodoo and the religion is very strict. This guy is Romulus, super elegant. I mean, this is a picture of the video, so he put his best stuff. This is Le Rocher, American flag, as I told you. So what is Le Rocher? If you try Le Rocher, please try Le Rocher. Immediately you see that there's a cat. I love cats. Yeah, cat love Clairin. I don't know if you know, guys. So why Le Rocher? Why is very different than any other Clairin? First of all, because it's not juice. So Sajus, Vaval, and Casimir are made from the pure juice. Okay, so let's say that are agricole or whatever you want to call it. So pure fresh juice. Le Rocher, no. Le Rocher is different because this is the first I saw. The first time you try Le Rocher, it's like, what the fuck? This is normal. It's a nice story. I show you the map. So we took Le Rocher because once I was driving alone in the country with no Luca and no Thierry. They left me alone. They went back, and I started driving all over the north. Very long, don't do it. I mean, very a mistake, honestly, I mean, to drive alone there. But I found that everybody around the old capital, Cap Haïtien was the previous capital before Port-au-Prince. So a lot of population, let's say, and a lot of Clairin. So all the Clairin producers, they don't use the juice, but they use the syrup, so the evaporated juice, let's say, and they also use the dander. Okay, if you know, Chris, I assume you know Jamaican rum. Maybe.
Yeah.
So Jamaican rum is historically made, like, let's speak about Hampden, for example. Okay, it's made with the addition on the raw material, so molasses or syrup or whatever is the raw material, the addition of the dander, which means the leftover of the distillation process. So imagine this is a pot still, okay? At the end of distillation, the pot still is not empty, okay? The pot still is full of the wash with no more alcohol, because alcohol is rum, but is full of stuff. And this is called dander, okay, in English. Is the leftover of the distillation process, okay? In Jamaica, they reuse this organic, very intense, acid, very rich raw material to boost the esters, basically, to create a high ester rum. You know Hampden, right? I assume you know the intensity of Jamaican rum, and actually one of the reasons Jamaican rum is so intense is, again, because they reuse the dander in the following fermentation. They ferment, they redistill, and they take it out and reuse implementation. Okay, zack, 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 zack is a cycle. Okay, and this is also in terms of economical. It's interesting because you don't waste anything. You reuse and reuse and reuse always the same raw material, and in this way you save also costs. Okay, this is a reason. So basically, I found that trip that all the producers in the north, in this region, they do Clairin with syrup and the addition of the dander. So it's fun because I came back that trip and I told Luca, and Luca made the research and found actually that the French, when the French were still there, they actually asked the help to the British, the Jamaicans, on how to produce a sort of Clairin with the higher esters, okay? Because in this way they could sell at higher price, okay, to the French in France, okay? It's a similar story than Jamaica, okay? Producing high ester formulas to sell at a higher price to the blenders in UK, in England, in UK at the time. So basically in the north, everybody produced in this way. Then, the revolution came, 1804. And so this kind of tradition of Clairin produced with dander never expanded in the south. So remained only in the northern part of the country. And so that's why we said, cats, let's select a Clairin Le Rocher because, is another representative of the complex style of Clairin. And so we selected Le Rocher. Okay, in the video, this is, for example, the dander that goes from the pot still. The pot is basically here, up here. And when he opens at the end of the vat, all this dander goes to the vat. And then he mixes with syrup and does the fermentation of the syrup and dander. Okay. So if you check the video, also I asked the Romelus how many drams of dander, how many drams of syrup. So and he told me all the secrets. So don't try at home, But if you want to go into the geeky stuff, watch the video. Okay. I assume that if you try Le Rocher, it's pretty oily, right? It's a bit smoky. The smokiness comes from actually the use of the syrup, okay? Because they boil the juice with the fire, so that's why it's a bit smoky. And the oiliness is, this dander give this kind of texture, this mouthfeel. This is completely different than the other three Clairin. Okay, Le Rocher is pretty extreme. There are some people love it and some people hate it because, okay, I love it, by the way. Okay, then after the last one, I want to ask you, which is your favorite? Like, who loves Ajus? Who loves Vaval? Okay, I'm curious. Then, song.
Daniele,
Yes.
I just have one question. Is the Le Rocher fermented in the concrete tanks?
Le Rocher is fermented in concrete tanks. Yes. How you know? Who are you?
I saw the picture and I thought that might be, a distinctive.
It's concrete. Yes.
Yeah, because
True.
every one that we've tried so far is fermented in something else. So we've had the wood, plastic, metal, and now concrete.
Yeah, I have many more pictures. It's curious to see Le Rocher. Don't be scared when you watch the movie. It's not really a aseptic environment, let me say. Not really aseptic. But again, guys, if you are there listening me on Monday night, okay, I assume you love rum. And if you love rum, you love the flavor. And if you love the flavor, means that you love the esters. And what the fuck are the esters? The esters that are the chemical name of the flavors. Esters are acids, okay, fat acids, let's say, linked with ethanol, okay, during the fermentation. The environment get very acid, especially, you know, in Haiti, you know, where the juice is open air, you know, and so get super acid, super. And while the fermentation creates the alcohol in the process, all these acids link with the molecule of ethanol, and the new molecule is called esters. So if you want to have a lot of complexity in your spirit, you have to have a lot of esters. And so you have to create a lot of acidity in the fermentation. This is how spirits work. Easy. So if you have an aseptic environment with no bacteria, with no like a microorganism that create this acidity, you basically have ethanol. And you know how many rums are basically ethanol. Okay, most of the rums are ethanol. Let's say that the 95% of the global market is ethanol only. Okay, sorry guys. That's why you are here, and you are here drinking Clairin. Okay, I assume that you don't like the ethanol rums. Okay, so the bacteria and the non-aseptic environment is the key that you love spirits. For example, Philip Sicula, look at how many bottles you have behind you. Jesus Christ. This
Many much, but this is just for the collection.
Bravo.
The bottle is
So,
open there.
no, ma you love impurities. That's why you have a lot of rums like this. Consider
I
that.
love trying the new tastings. So I open the bottle, try it, and leave it for the friends.
But what I'm joking saying impurities, but again, we live in a world. I always say that, you know, I never lose the occasion to repeat, guys, that we live in a world, especially vodka, okay, or your side of the world, that are neutral spirit, okay, are purest spirit. Pure. What fucking means pure in spirit? Means that there is no flavor. It's just ethanol 60% or 40% and water 60%. This is what people drink in this world, okay? 40% of ethanol and 60% of water, and there is nothing left, okay, if you do an aseptic industrial process of production. If you do a funky something with some bacteria, and bacteria are friends, okay? Bacteria are the reason you are alive now, okay? So in an aseptic environment, you will be dead. And actually, you will drink the dead rum, which means like the purest, which means like the ethanol, which again is the 95% of the global market, okay? So Jinkuya again, that you are listening me, because it means that you love the impurities. This is the kind of stupid narration they tell us. Okay. So back to, I lost myself. Okay, back to Sonson. This guy is Stefan Saoud is his name. Sonson is the name of the distillery. I was thinking because he's the son of Pierre Gilles, so Sonson. And then they told me, no, it's another nickname. But actually, he's the third generation, and Stefan is another number one. He's very close to the capital, and he produces syrup only. So he doesn't have a lot of sugarcane. This is the only one he has, but he doesn't have a lot of sugarcane in the village, and so he cannot cut the cane and produce Clairin with his own cane. And so basically he buys syrup from another village and bring the syrup back, dilute the syrup, or maybe he produce his own syrup, whatever, then dilute and then ferment the diluted syrup, okay, which is not exactly the juice, but is another raw material, pretty smart, because give a completely different flavor, and also you can preserve. Okay, this is the sugar cane of Sanson. They crash the cane again in a similar way as the others. Yes, this is a nice way to understand how he makes the syrup. This is a technique completely disappeared again. I show you the video. It's very short. Don't worry. So produce the syrup in this way. Okay. It's called, in French, it's called sirop de batterie. Syrup, battery, syrup. I don't know in English. Because the fire is, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 vats or 5 vats. Okay. The fire is below the last one in the end. And so they put the juice and they skim out the juice from one vat to the second, from the second to the third, and the temperature is growing, and so evaporate gradually. This is very smart, because if you do like this, you skim out the impurities and you keep only the top property of the sugarcane juice. Okay, so it's a very ancestral, technique, but it's very smart. Okay, for the final quality. Consider, guys, that Clairin is produced by these guys. Okay, it's not they are not chemical engineers. Okay, but they do it from generation, and so 90% of the time is very, very, very good. I also tried some Clairin that are shit. Okay, I tried some Clairin around the capital, for example, that are complete shit, because the guy maybe put in some methanol, so it's not always safe, Clairin. Let's say that when you go in the countryside, they produce it for themselves, so it's always good at the end of the day. Okay. Zack. Okay, the video. Also, the video of Sanson, if you want to check it. Next time, very cool. Blah, blah, blah. So what you have a comunal, Chris? I don't remember. No.
No.
Okay.
I have
So-
communal, but not in our
tasting. So what is comunal? Just for you to know, guys. 1 second. Years ago, we in 2017, we managed to have more liquid finally. Because trust me, get the liquid from the mountains, from the countryside to the capital, it's a mess. There are no roads. They don't answer like to email, okay, like your colleagues tomorrow morning. Okay, it's not like this. So it's not easy, but in 2017 we managed that year to have more juice, and so we decided to do comunal, and then we managed to keep doing comunal. And comunal is a blend. It's a blend of 4 producers, so Sajus, Vaval, Casimir, and Le Rocher, because Sanson was not existing yet. We started with Sanson recently. So we blended the 4 to save costs, because most of the costs are logistic again. Then we diluted down to 43. This is the only one diluted of the range to 43%. And we made it for the bars, for the bartenders. So it's softer, it's also cheaper because there is less tax, the alcohol tax and all this stuff. So at the end of the day, Comunal is the perfect blend, smoother, and bartenders love it and bartenders use it. We made a cocktail competition in Warsaw, like in 2019, maybe you remember. Was amazing event, amazing. You have bartenders in Poland, guys, that are amazing because they, I mean, trust me, most of your bar are super top. Warsaw, Wrocław, Krakow. Anyway, so Clairin Communal, it's basically the blend of 4 of the 5, but it's cheaper because it's diluted down. And so it's more soft, it's more glue. I mean, you can drink like crazy. That's why people make a daiquiri or make any kind of cocktail. Normally it's communal because if you go to the bars, you see that maybe they have Sajus and Baval on the back shelf, no? Because it's a bit more expensive, it's higher proof, and they have basically communal, they have it in the sack behind the bar, make the drink. That's fine. Okay. L'union fait la force. I mean, together we are stronger. This is the point of communal. So first of all, which is your favorite? I don't see you, so it's completely useless to make whatever. But I see like 5 of you. So what's your favorite? Like the gentle Sajus, the salty Vaval, or the cheesy Parmesan Casimir, or the oily Le Rocher? Which one?
For me, it was a La Roche,
Mm.
definitely.
For me, Vaval and Sajus.
Vai, spara. Casimir, no.
I would go for Saju and Vaval, Casimir.
You know?
Yeah, for me, Sanson, the best of these chats.
When we made Sanson, we said, okay, after Le Rocher we started in 2017 when we made also the Communal, and Sanson was 2021, and was back to, I mean, Le Rocher was extreme, man. And then Sanson was another Clairin easier. I don't know. I'm happy because honestly, when I ask what's your favorite, it's always balanced, no? Sajus, Casimir, Sanson, blah 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 blah. So I'm happy. There is not one that is the favorite. No, it's very democratic. So
hard to say only about one because they're like so different, and after every sip you can take or every nose buds will get the amount of the aromas. It tastes like you got like not 5 different samples, but like 50 different samples. So if you would have a bottle and during the time, and when this liquid will get more oxidation and amount of oxygen will be more or less inside of the bottle, this is like you can have like 500,000 of different samples. I don't know. The amount is like not even be able to set in like real numbers. So this is great because sometimes you can feel something else in your nose and then you're drinking and then the last drop going through your throat, and it's like, wow, 3 samples in one. Then you're waiting 2 minutes and again, and the process repeats itself. So for me, it's like, whoa, we're in a Disneyland of rums. And thankfully to Chris and Pedro Villanova, Clairin is something new for me, like for 1 year, because then rum is rum and Clairin is like a pleasure, and like the colors never end. So thank you very much for this pleasure to have that. And then we have a few more. So wow.
Thanks to you. I mean, first of all, I'm very proud, because we made this crazy research and discovery. And it's not easy. We don't make a lot of money. Let's say there are products in the Valier portfolio that are profitable, let's say. So Clairin is a project that was moved by passion, because Clairin on its own is probably minus, is negative. But also when we made the brand, we didn't think to make a brand. Okay, that's why we make Clairin Sajous. Okay, as we said, it's like a Mezcal Villanova and Mezcal Rutkowski. Sorry. So the brand is Clairin or is Sajous? No, the brand is not Clairin because it's like Mezcal or like cachaça, you know. And Sajous is Sajous. It's not a brand. I mean, it's a guy. So this was also a naive approach long 10 years ago, 12 years ago. We love the Clairin of Mr. Sajous and we borrowed Clairin Sajous. We had a lot of problems with that because there is no brand. I mean, we had to ask Sajous and Baval and Casimir to come to the capital and to sign the use of the name. I mean, then we invited them in Italy, in France once. So it's really a project that is like you love rum, you find the origin of the rum, and so I mean we had to borrow, we had to do it, even if now it's a mess. Sometimes it's discontinuous, sometimes there is no Casimir. Now I don't have Casimir, for example, in stock. It's a mess, guys. And Haiti is like this. This is the good and the bad of doing stuff that are out from the normal planets. Okay. Back to the liquids, I agree with you. Every complex, really complex liquid, I mean, with the complexity of the fermentation and of the pot still distillation, okay, they evolve in the glass because esters are volatile, okay, with ethanol. And so minute by minute, it's technically normal that the first volatile notes are the first and then the second and then blah, 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 blah. So every complex spirit needed time. That's why I love a tasting like this. And I don't love the events, you know, the rum festival, stuff like this. I love to meet people, but not to drink rum in that events, because I mean you don't feel anything. You cannot taste the Clairin in 30 seconds because then you have another rum. You don't give any value on this. But back to Zach, to the next. So the next is Ancien, no? Chris, tell me, because I mean I'm the worst. I remember. We have an Ancien, then we have the...
No, we have 3 bottles left. We have Vaval, Ancien, yes, selected for the last
port. That's amazing. This was a Vaval. Tell me, show to the camera the... Show. Vieni, come here. Come here. So, no, read just below is Va Arva. I tell you now how it
what
works.
do you want to know? Vaval Clairin Ancien, 41 months, single cask, barreled February 2019, bottled June 2022, selected by the last port.
No, and there is a code like Carva, the name of the cask.
The name of the cask. VV17FF Cognac.
Francois Frère, I remember this liquid. I made it, the selection. Guys, you have a unique in Poland with Patrick and Mika of Lasport. We selected, I mean, they choose, but I pre-select and then they choose. This Clairin, which is aged in cognac. It's a cask. So I tell you the story. In 2015, basically, in the same property of the family, we have our friends in Port-au-Prince. We put together. Luca decided to build like a warehouse in stone and wood to make it super natural. And we started, shipping to Haiti a lot of casks. ex Caroni, ex Habitation Bellière, ex Last Word, ex Mount Gay, ex Worthy Park, Biel, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, ex everything basically. Then we start with Sherry. Okay, every time we release an Habitation Bellière or any kind of bottling of Luca, we started shipping there the empty cask to Haiti. Okay, and we started filling the cask with Sajus, Vaval, Casimir, Rocher. So now we have like a couple of hundred casks in the warehouse here. This is, for example, VVWP, Vaval 2016 in Worthy Park, to make an example. I don't know, Sajus in Last Word. You remember Last Word, the Habitation? This is Le Rocher 2017 in Oloroso. Cask of Biel. We have a lot of casks. And so this is Casimir in Buffalo Trace, stuff like this. So now we have a lot of single casks, basically. This is another stuff. We didn't do it to make like a proper warehousing strategy. We started, shipping stuff and filling. So now we have a lot of combination, let's say. And so we started doing Clairin Ancien in the same bottle of Clairin, single casks. And, together with our importer, our friends, people that came to Haiti, we made 35 or 40 or maybe more single cask in the last years. And we started writing the month. So 40 months, 41, 39 months, because, the quality of this product is the white Clairin, okay, then evolved in the barrel. So the age is not so important. We didn't want to write 2 years, 3 years, because then the normal consumers, not like you, I mean the normal consumer, they, I remind you, you are not normal, guys, if you are here. So, but the normal consumers, they think the age is important. So we started writing the months instead of the year now too. Also because what age in a cask technically are esters, are the esters that evolve, that oxidate in the oxidation of the cask. So if you have a lot of esters at the beginning, obviously it will age much faster, okay, technically. And so that's why after a couple of years or 3 years, you have 41 months, Chris. Yeah, 41. 41 is 3 years and something. So it's already woody. It's already like complex. It's already, an aged guy. I love the range of Clairin Ancien. I show here some of the release. Clairin Ancien, it's amazing because first of all, it's the first experiment of aging Clairin in the history of Clairin. And also, we started aging because we were curious ourselves of the evolution of a liquid so crazy and so low in the proof. Consider that normally rums go into the casks at 65%. Okay, you distill, then you dilute down to 65, and then you put it in the cask. This is the convention. Okay, so something that is distilled once, and so it is at 49, 51, 53. It's lower than 65. And so aging something so low was a surprise for us, was unknown. That's why we made these experiments to see what these liquids was evolving. So then we made this. You have a similar stuff like this, no? So bottle like this. This is the code I was talking about with Chris. He's the guy of in US who made it. Okay. So let me come back to life. Okay. So in your case, you have an amazing aged ancien in ex-cognac. And this is a very unusual cask. It's the only one François Frère. FF means François Frère, which is a tonnellerie. It's like a, how we say in English, is a cooper. Is a producer of casks, very, very prestigious in France. And he's basically the only one François Frère ever shipped to Haiti. So you are having an ancien that is unique. Okay. I'm sad I don't have this liquid now with me because it was amazing. I hope you like it. The ancien is amazing because it's very young, and so you still have the funky notes of the Clairin, but with evolution in the cask, no? So it's like still in between. I mean, I love young rums for this. Okay. Then next you like the ancien. I hope you like the ancien because it's magic liquid.
Oh,
This is really a magic liquid. Then the
Very
two you
strong
have,
notes of tobacco and mint. This is strange, but I love it.
yeah,
For me, there is a lot of the mine. It's very, very intense. It's very nice.
is Vaval, right, Chris?
Yeah.
You know, the mint is curious.
The last port is simple.
Yeah,
This
no,
one.
no. Esatto. The how many centiliter are those samples? I mean, Christoph is generous or not? 2 centiliter, Jesus Christ. I mean, you are Scotland. This is Scottish. It's not.
Oh, 23 or 24, 25 something.
Okay.
Over 20.
Also, Maison de Whisky, they use the sample of 2CL. When I say in Italy, we are 10. Okay. In Valier, if you come, guys, come to Genoa.
Okay, we will.
No, all of you. I mean, come to Genoa. 2 hours driving from Milan, you come to Genoa and we drink something.
I've been in Liguria for the last 2 years, so.
Exactly. No, Genoa, you know, Valier is on the coast, is a castle, basically, right on the sea, full of Caroni and Demerara. I mean, how can it, I mean, you have to come, guys. It's a castle on the sea full of Demerara and Caroni. I mean, it's with a 2 hectares of park, botanical park. Guys, you have to. Okay, so
Daniele, we talked about that in Belgium.
no, I know. Let's do it.
So yeah, so there is some plans. I talked a little bit already with Patrick about that, but we have to find some space to do that next year.
Yeah. Okay. Next, again, is you have a Valier Live bottling.
Yeah, we have Valier Live bottling, Valier
Sajous.
Live 24, and Viesaju Loloroso casks. These 2 bottles.
Libido, pure libido. So
Which
I will
one
do
we should drink first?
maybe Valier Live.
Oh, this one.
Red one. Yeah. You know why? Because then we go to sherry at the end.
Yeah.
So this, first of all, this cask was a unique cask of Valier Live. I don't know where you got the bottle. At Valier Live, probably.
Yeah.
Bravo, esatto, the only way. And this was a Sajous in
Caroni cask.
in Caroni, esatto, like mine. I have an ancien. I think you can find in Poland. If you want to drink me, in Poland you can find Sajous. I made a Sajous in Caroni, the very first Sajous in Caroni ever. 19 months, super 1 year and a half, super young. That's an amazing. If you still find my bottle, because we did it like years ago. Anyway, now you can go to a Sajous, so the cleanest, let's say, of the 5, in a Caroni cask. When year by year, our casks were getting older. And so we decided at a certain point to use the long bottle for the ancien, for the young Clairin, and then put in the Valier bottle, the black bottle of Valier, the older ones. Okay, when the wood some way become very impactful, let's say, on the liquid, and so you don't feel more the rock and roll of the Clairin white, but you see the evolution. Wood in this case is a Caroni cask. So this was a single cask that we made for Valier Live, an event crazy we made in February in Milano. And you can see why we started aging. Because after 4 years, 5 years, it's an old run at the end. Because, it's another magic liquid, okay? There are no rums that aged at 48, 49%, 50% in the cask. It is impossible for the industry of rum. Also economical, from economical point. So Angel share 6 to 8%, like most of the Asian, most of the Caribbean countries, let's say. So I'm envious that you are having the Valier Live. This is a pretty unique, guys. Bravo, Chris, because it's pretty unusual. Chin Chin. I'm drinking a Gibson. I do bottle cocktails, right? So this is a Gibson. Now I'm making experiments for the next ones.
Okay.
I'm trying my experiments with you guys. These are have you ever seen these bottles, guys?
Yeah.
So Valier launched a range of all possible daiquiris. This is with Clairin, Communal. Then there is another product with the Hampden, white. And then another product with the River Antoine. So all possible daiquiris. Organic lime juice and organic syrup. These are amazing. When you are at home, you open the fridge and you glue, glue, glue like this. Already diluted 12%. So I made the job for you. Don't worry. You just open the fridge like a white wine. You open and suck. No ice, nothing. I mean, if you want ice, but not necessarily.
I think considering how Chris had this daiquiri competition, there was like 200 entries. You cannot say it's all possible daiquiri. It's like a lot of different daiquiris, but not all possible daiquiris.
Now the dream is to have all possible, because we started with 3. Now is a top secret, but we are producing in January the Paranubes, the number 4. And then I want to go ahead, because some producers start to say, why don't you put me in your range? Yes, I will. And so I hope it will become all possible, or many possible daiquiris. Okay. But I agree with you. If you're not a bartender and you don't do daiquiri competition, it's enough to buy this bottle and suck. Easy. Consider there are seven drinks in 70 centiliter, obviously, because one is 10. And you can finish the bottle in 25 minutes, more or less. Okay, so next and last. Did you like Sajus in Caroni 5? Yes. I answer for you, yes. I hope, yes.
It's very nice. It's really, really intensive, very, very nice. Yeah. I like it from the very beginning. That's why I decided to use it to our session tonight. So yeah, it spent many months in my cupboard to use this one.
Bravo, you are a hero for your explorers, for your friends explorers. Yeah, this is what we don't do anything. It's not what we do. We consider that Valier, I always love to say that, we never touch the liquid. It's impossible to find a bottle. Only Papaline, Papaline, which is a blend of different producers. Only what we call Papaline there is our hand because it's a blend, and so we blend it. But we never touch the rum. We don't do second aging. We don't do the finish. We don't put the fucking sugar in the rum. Okay, we are, I don't know, we are merchants. I don't know. We are a talent scout. As Luca said, we are Pininfarina. And it was with Sajus. I am Pininfarina. You are the Ferrari. And Sajus, what the fuck are you saying, this guy? No, you are the Ferrari. You are the producer. You are the magic. I am just a designer of the label, of the packaging. This is what Valier does. We don't touch the liquid. Okay. Anyway, next one.
Also, if I can say something.
Yes, sir.
You told Christopher that he is a great person, that he allowed us to taste this particular bottle of Caroni.
No, I said that he allowed you. I never said that he's a great person.
So I said it, but
sorry,
he is.
Sorry.
But in my opinion, real heroes does not wear capes. So thank you guys, you are heroes.
Rum is liquid, so it's something to drink. Okay. If you keep the bottle closed, you don't see the rum. You don't enjoy the rum. You see a nice bottle. So this is the magic of bottle. If you don't open, if you keep it closed, you will never know what it is. When you open, it's open. This is the magic of what we do. So open the bottle. Don't keep them closed. Okay. So the last one, and is amazing. I remember that bottle too. When I say I remember, because it is the kind of bottle that we sell the same day we launched. Okay, you probably know what we do. We created the collector movement in the rum, like the whiskey is saying. And people luckily love our stuff and understand the value of co-bottlings and tropical aging, and the kind of research we do. And so we sell this stuff in 3 seconds. That's why when I see my old babies, my old bottles, I'm envious, because maybe I tried 3 years ago when I made the selection, and then I never tried again, then go to bottling, then go to the warehouse, then go to Lasport, and then go to your house, not my house. Fuck that. But I remember this liquid. This was the first bottle of sherry aging. So in all the history of shipping the empty casks, you remember, in 2016, I think, 17, Luca started shipping sherry casks, ex Oloroso and ex Pedro Jimenez. The one you are drinking is an Oloroso cask, Pata de Gallina, Bodega Lustau. Okay, if you know sherry, and you should, Lustau is one of the bodegas, the most prestigious, let's say, bodega of sherry. So we had chance, because Valier is the importer of Lustau in Italy, so we know them very well from a long time, and so we got access to the warehouse and to get the empty casks, ex Oloroso, and so we started shipping to 80, basically. And then we started filling with our producers. Not all of them, because we don't have a lot of sherry casks, but some. If you know Hampden Pagos, for example, is the same project. We started getting some casks from Lustau, and we started shipping also to the Jamaica, and that's why we started filling with the Hampden, and that's why what you know as Hampden Pagos is Hampden in sherry. Okay. So experimenting the sherry is very interesting, and the liquid is extremely interesting. Obviously, Oloroso is not Pedro Jimenez, okay? So it's not super sweet, let's say, what remains in the wood after the maturation of the Pedro Jimenez. Oloroso is drier, but still have the components of something that is wine, is not a spirit in the cask, and so the wood is super like full of those flavor, not the liquid, obviously, the flavor. So in 2016, basically the Consejo Regulador dello Sherry basically started finally creating a system of rules of what means a sherry, real sherry cask. Okay. Because, you know, in the history of whiskey, if you know whiskey, the aging in sherry is an old tradition. But in the last 20, 30 years, you know, the quality of those casks was basically not only very low, but open to a lot of tricks, a lot of stuff, you know, to say sherry and was not sherry. It was like containing maybe the sherry. And actually there are in the market some rums that are ex-sherry but are aged in a cask that still have some sherry inside. That's why they are sweet. Okay. So anyway, we made a battle years ago, you know, to understand what is a real sherry oak, a real sherry cask, sorry. And then, you know, this new certification allow us to be very clear on no sugars and no additives and no stuff. So this is a Sajus in Oloroso di Lustau. How many years? I remember 4 exactly. 50 something, 56 maybe.
56.7.
Yeah, I remember. Very high. And actually in that moment, Sajus was distilling higher. Now it's back lower, but in that year was distilling a higher proof. In the cask, there is no any loss of alcohol percentage. Maybe sometimes it can even grow a little bit, the alcohol percentage, even if you have the angel share, you know. But it depends the ratio of evaporation of water and evaporation of alcohol. So it depends who evaporate more, and so at the end you can have even higher. Yeah, I recommend too Papalin 6 years in sherry. Let's say that all the sherry stuff are great, and honestly, the Clairin in sherry, it's really, first of all, it's amazing liquid. Okay. And then it's unique. Okay, imagine what you are drinking, guys. You are drinking a spirit made with the organic juice, and there are no organic rums in the Caribbean apart 1 or 2 new experiments. Okay, this is organic, not certified. This is just wild. Okay, it's pre-organic. So pre-organic, endemic varieties of cane also completely disappeared. Okay, today there are hybrids. Natural fermentation, no dilution with water of the juice, and natural fermentation. Pot still with direct fire, distilled once in a sherry oak. There is nothing like this existing in the world of rum. Okay, so that's why I mean, what you have in the glass, it's something interesting, let's say. Okay, so this is what we do. We love to search the right people, the best land, the best the best terroir again, and then we do our best. I mean, and then even with no plans, to be honest, we didn't know what could be the evolution of a Sajus in a Oloroso cask, but that's what it is, and so it was a good idea.
I need to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for wonderful presentation, and I also must say that I've been drinking these Haiti rums for some time and I absolutely love them. So my question is, I have here a few bottles of mine that use Sajou and Caronica, Vieux Vaval and others. Why is it that the Vieux Labe, the 20th anniversary, is so different from the others?
What do you mean the anniversary?
I'll try to switch. Can you see my bottles?
Ah, of course. Wow. Vieux Sajus, Vieux Labe, and what is next? No, a destra, on the right. Bellissimo. Wow, this was this was Vieux Vaval. This is the oldest. No, the one on the Vieux Vaval 8. Sorry, then I answer you. But you have a bottle that is the oldest Clairin age in ever, let's say, because the Vieux Vaval 8, we started in 2015 aging, and the bottling was 2023. And so this is the oldest Clairin ever existed. So bravo. Back to your question. Vieux Labe is not a Clairin. That's why it's different. So maybe sorry for the misunderstanding. But if you turn the camera again, Vieux Labe 20th anniversary is not a Clairin. This is the local product, the local rum Vieux Labe that is made by Herbert, which is the family that partnered with us. Okay, but this is not a Clairin. This is in the capital. Okay, in the capital there is Barbancourt, which is a big distillery, and then there are 3 or 4 unknown distillery that produce a sort of agricole rum. I mean, it's an agricole rum in column, in single column, like the agricole rum, technically, and are distilleries in the capital, Vals, for example, Cotard. There are some families that produce rum in column, not a Clairin. Okay, they use also yeasts for the fermentation. It's an agricole rum, let's say, and they sell the juice to other clients, to other contractor, to local brands that maybe blend and do local flask. You know, it's not bad, but it's not a Clairin. It's an agricole rum. So Vieux Labe is a nice agricole rum made in the capital by Herbert. Now Herbert is Herbert Linguet is the family that produce this Vieux Labe. Hibiscus liqueur, that is amazing. Coffee liqueur, bitter orange. You know, the best bitter orange in the world are from Haiti because they're natural. You know, Cointreau, you know the Cointreau, the liqueur. Cointreau is made with Haitian bitter orange. Was made, I don't know now. Anyway, was made with Haitian bitter orange because they're the best. Okay, so they produce liquor. Herbert produce Clairin, I mean bottle our Clairin, age our Clairin, produce Vieux Labe, that is a local in Haiti, has a different packaging. For this release you have you put it in our Valier bottle. Okay. And then also they do Providence. Okay, so now is like a sort of Valier Haiti. Okay.
Thank you very much for the answer. So can I have the second one? So first, this is my total favorite of all. And the question continues with that. You mentioned the unrest now in Haiti. Will that mean the differences in pricing? Will the rams be still available? What's your prediction? How it's going to go with the supplies?
So the ram is available in the countryside. They still produce because in the countryside, they don't feel like in the capital, the problems. The problem is the logistic, as you said, to receive the products in the capital. And the other problem is to ship here. Now the situation is worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's also difficult for Herbert to go from home to the office, okay, because the whole city is like blocked completely by the gangs. I don't know if you know the news, but it's really the civil war. So we had many problems last year of supply. Last part, friends know well, and all the rest of the planet know well because we were out of stuff. Now, even if the situation is bad, we managed to ship. This was in September. 4 of the 5 producer. I don't have Casimir, but maybe last part still have Casimir. I don't know. I hope. And we managed to ship also Comunal. So now, no problem of supply because we managed to ship quite enough. I mean, it was a good occasion. We ship everything. Because we still have liquid from like 1 year. So we ship everything, and now I am finally with stock. And I think this stock will last for the whole 2025. So no problem. And then let's just pray that the situation will be better for them. Okay. For the vieux stuff, when we manage to ship from Haiti, we always try to borrow something vieux, because once a year we want to release also the vieux release.
So, okay, let me thank you.
If
Another.
I remember correctly, you said that you send the barrel to Haiti directly. So these ex-Caroni casks are done in Haiti, or are they done in Europe?
In Haiti.
Okay.
Only Haiti. Consider that Valier never, ever ate something in continental weather in Europe. No. Rum is Caribbean and has to age in the Caribbean. Like Scotland, like Scotch whiskey and like cognac and like everything. So a Jamaican rum should age in Jamaica, and Haitian rum has to age in Haiti. Because if you age in Wrocław, it's not an Haitian rum. It's a something, okay.
And you also touched it, but is there a chance to visit Valier in Italy, to come for some tasting, to order the visit, or how does it work?
No, Valier is an office. We don't do B2C, let's say. We don't do consumer. Valier is B2B. So it's a trade company only. But it's true that the castle, because actually Valier is a castle again, amazing, beautiful. It's an hospitality center now. There is like a tasting of wine, tasting of rum, tasting of bartender competition. I mean, that place is a restaurant, is a mess. I mean, every day, everything happens. So yes, you can call and ask for a visit. It's not so easy, just for one reason, because the boss, which is Luca, which is the guy that if you go there, you will love to meet, maybe. It's always traveling, so not very easy to catch. But we don't do visits, let's say. we don't do it. Maybe one day we should start having like a visitor center. But actually, no, we don't do visit because it's an office. I mean, you go there and people in front of a laptop, you know. So it's an office with very open for visit, but you cannot go online and visit or spend. It's more like if you want, you find a way. You can try call Valier and ask for an appointment. Is info@valier.it if you want, and they answer normally. Well, they answer, of course, they answer.
So, okay, let me say another thank you from the Czech Republic. I think that I can speak for most of us that we got many new and interesting informations, and I hope that the Haiti Rams or Spirit could be the future of the Europe the way. It's very nice. Thank you.
I think the future is in the past, guys. Why you love Clairin? Why you love mezcal? Why you love like a tomato that
It's
come
new
from
new
the
tastings.
countryside of your grandmother or stuff like this. The future, the good stuff for any agricultural product, any food or beverage, you know, especially when they are so agricultural, they are good if they come from a land that belongs to the past terroir, to the past, to the mood, to the old style mood, you know, not the modern industrial stuff, because you know, that's why the present is pretty a shit. So to search the future, you have to check in the past. So,
Yes, but the old Rams is finishing now, and we have to find something nice and new, and it is a perfect present.
exactly, this is very new and very old at the same time. It's the
Yeah.
oldest and the newest.
Let
Cheers.
me just say that I started my Haiti adventure with a bottle of Le Rocher, so that was pretty extreme for me at the time. Yeah, but I started to love these rums along the way and with some other bottles along the way. But let me just have a quick question about some technicalities. You mentioned that almost all of the distilleries just run a single distillation in very old style pot stills, right?
Yes.
So how, if anyhow, do they get rid of the methanol?
So the distillation is discontinuous, is a pot still, you know. Most of them, they have a small column, like 4 or 5 plates on top of the pot, but it's very rudimental. They cut the head and the tails like any distiller in the world, even if this is one distillation. So normally you do one distillation, you don't care, because is in the second distillation that you cut the head and the tails.
Yep.
But if you do one cycle only, you cut the head and the tails at the end of the first cycle. Okay, so they first of all, the wash comes out at a very high potential, very higher alcohol. So it's enough to do one cycle only to keep. And also, for traditional reason, they are used to cut the heads, and so everybody take out the methanol. Okay, but in fact they are still alive. You know, they drink it from generation, but they keep the tails. That's why it's oily, Le Rocher. That's why it's oily, the Casimir and stuff. Because going down to 40, 50, to 54, 53, 51, at the end, it means that there is a lot of tails. Okay. and then they cut. So in this way, they have higher quantity, again, traditionally. And so that's why it's very funky. It's very complex.
Okay, so they just remove the first head, right? Or something like that?
Everybody remove the first head, because I will not be here in front of you now because I drink Clairin every day. So I will get blind. I will be blind. No, of course they cut. And of course we do gas chromatography of every batch we receive. So everything is by far within the rules. So methanol is not the problem. You don't feel any methanol.
Yeah, as I said, I'm already a few bottles into my Haiti journey, and I'm still alive, so I'm sure that it contains no methanol.
No. What you feel is the opposite. Is not the higher notes, are the lower notes. So the what we call the tails, because they cut longer, they cut later, and so you have like a lot of tails. But tails are the heavier esters, are those esters that allow also this finish. Okay, I am studying recently the finish. You know when they say, "Wow, a long finish." No, what fucking is the finish? It's how long you have the flavor in your mouth. Okay, with a bottle of Le Rocher, after 3 hours, you still have Le Rocher.
Yeah, exactly.
Even tomorrow morning, you wake up, you burp, and you remember me tomorrow morning. So this is the long finish. Okay, and I love that the same narration that say the best vodka is the purest vodka, and so considering impurities, the flavors, is the same narration that says long finish is better, but long finish are exactly the long esters. So this is the reason that marketing people that write the contents of the brands, they don't understand anything about spirits and vice versa. And so at the end, there is this nonsense of communication. The reason
Daniele,
Sorry?
Sorry, yeah, no, back to the gas chromatography. Do you do it only with Clairin because of the methanol risk from single distillation, or do you do gas chromatography on everything that Velia releases to understand this better?
Allora, to be sure, we do gas chromatography on everything Velia release. Yes, sir. Especially, but if I release a last word in Caroni, I know the gas chromatography or last word, which is Mount Gay, you don't need to do it, okay? Because it's Mount Gay or it's Foursquare, okay? We started doing with Clairin because we were curious ourselves, and also to be sure, okay, if I put something in the market, I have to know what I put in the market. And it comes from the mountains of middle of nowhere, like El Amparo, Ecuador, or crazy cachaça we made, or Colombia, Vice, that smell like an animal. At the end you make a gas chromatography, so why not? Okay. Then it's also true, to answer you, that I have in this laptop 800 gas chromatography of all the RAMs existing in the world. But this because I enjoy, when I don't sleep, I love to see what they fucking put in the RAM. But don't focus too much on gas chromatography. This is a geeky stuff for people like me, not normal. So it's just something more, the gas chromatography. You have to feel the the terroir. Guys, any other question?
Yeah, guys, are there any other questions? Because it's late already.
We did 2 hours and a half
2 hours and a half is the perfect time for you, Daniele.
with quest. With quest. It was not my fault this time.
I would just have one question, because as far as I remember, my only experience with Clairin so far was World Championship 1997, I think. And I didn't like it very much.
2007. 1997, we were, Haiti was in a different place. No, 2017.
Yes.
Oh, maybe it was 2017.
It's
Definitely
bottle,
7 at the end.
yellow with the two guys on the label
exactly.
that play like box.
Well,
right?
yeah, was it like because I recall just drinking that, and I suppose it was a blend, right?
So there are probably two reasons. First reason was the first blend we made. This was the blend of, because we made the cocktail competition, we invited, was one winner from Poland, one winner from Germany, one winner from UK, from Italy, from France, blah, blah. And we invited them in Haiti. We spent like a week, all the bartender together. Was like a comic because, Haiti is really another planet, Well, I remember the Danish bartender never went out from Denmark. And, from Copenhagen to Port-au-Prince, he was like, what the fuck, guys, we're gonna come back home. So it was like a hard trip. And at the end, we decided to do one blend to celebrate, the trip. And so we made that one. So one of the reasons is that we were very young to make a blend of Clairin. The other reason maybe you didn't like it first time is because was your first Clairin.
Yeah, that's the possibility.
Guys, that's normal. The first Clairin of your life is what the fuck, like the first mezcal, but like the first Ardbeg or Lagavulin, the first time you tried Lagavulin, you thought you were drinking like the ashtray, like this. So at the end, it's normal. The palate is cultural. Your palate is cultural. So first time you didn't like it, and now you love all the 5 Clairin, I think.
Yes, actually, I was kind of afraid because I don't really much like the unaged agricoles. I don't like those vegetal green notes. And I even wrote to Krzysiek that it's a good opportunity not to buy a whole bottle, just to try a bit. But actually, it turned out to be much better than I expected.
Guys, Valier does a lot of the prestige of Valier is age rum, the old rum Caro. My feeling, and I am Valier, but in terms of understanding rum, you have to drink white. If you drink white rum, can be Martinique or Cuba or
Well, last time I had one bottle of JM and it was really hard to go through it.
Yeah. Now, if you drink white rum, you understand rum. Because, all this diversity of styles, they go into the same ex-bourbon, in the same climate, in the same islands. So at the end of the day, the diversity of the white goes flat in their aged versions. This is obvious. So the diversity of the aged rum is less than the diversity of the white rums. Then in the white rums, you understand the raw material, the fermentation of the raw material, and the distillation of the fermented raw material. This is the point. This is understanding spirits, okay? Then the aged version is like, you like it, you drink it, okay? But in didactic point of view, you have to drink white to understand what is what, okay, in the reality. So you don't like GM, okay? Try another.
I didn't have issues with Ray and Nephew, for example, which is very strong, and I was kind of afraid to try it, but it's really nice in the end.
The reason that many people not French don't like agricole is because agricole are made in single column. It's not a pot still. So in the continuous process of distillation, you don't cut the head and the tails. You still have all these components in the process because it's a current, I don't know in English, is a continuous process. So everything, pot still distillation is position driven, it's not time driven. The pot still distillation is time driven. You decide when to cut the head, then you keep the heart, and then when to cut the tails. Okay, it's a matter of time. The column distillation is a continuous process. So is where you pull out the liquid you want in the column. And since in the column distillation, they want to produce, obviously, some of the agricole, they still have some pungent notes that are considerable, the heads. So at the end of the day, for the specific law of agricole rum, you still have these pungent notes. Okay, some distillers less, like Mason, IMN, Mason, East. But some other distillers, maybe they traditionally they do it in this way, and so you still have some pungent notes. And mixed to the vegetal notes, okay, and no sugars, so some people don't like a white agricole. No problem. Try another one. Try another one. And try another one.
Riviera is much better, for example, for me at least.
In the reason you love Vrije Nephew is because Vrije Nephew is super light, but is pot. So I tell you something related to this. The alcohol proof. Vrije Nephew is 63. Say, what the fuck? He's 63. I mean, it's very high. Ramfire, Ramfire is White Hampton, 63%. Okay, but is so full of esters that you don't feel the ethanol 63. Because the reason that heavy spirits in esters so intense, you can keep them high, is because esters are fat, are long chain, are like oily stuff. And so they protect you while you are drinking. They protect you from the ethanol that is the guy burning, because it's the ethanol burning, it's not the esters. I mean, everything is together, but it's the volatile notes that are more, pungent. And so if you have a lot of esters, you can support a higher alcohol. That's why you can drink 60% rum and no problem, because they are full of stuff. If you drink 60% vodka, to make an example, that doesn't exist, but to make an example, Minka, you die, because, it's burning crazy, because the ethanol is not protected by the oiliness of the other esters. Okay? And it's the opposite. If you have a high ester liquid, but you dilute it at 40%, that's why Jamaica is never 40. And the Jamaica at 40 are for business reason, not for technical reason. So if you have a high ester stuff and you dilute it down, it's stupid, because esters are not volatile. It's the ethanol that is volatile and is a vector for the esters to evaporate, and so you can feel them in your nose. If you have a lower ethanol, the ethanol is not able to pick up the esters. Because
it's like Mesa Jamaica is 40 and you can't drink it. It's like...
In fact, Jamaica 40 is technically a mistake. But in fact, the Jamaican 40 we are talking about is not high ester. Has some notes that remind you those esters, but it's not high. If you check the gas chromatography, it's not high. Okay? So don't think about the alcohol percentage on the fucking label, because this is only to pay the tax. You don't have to even read the alcohol percentage on your label. fanculo. Okay, the alcohol percentage is only related to the kind of liquid in the bottle. Okay, higher the esters. Okay, lower the esters. Okay, if you do a higher proof, lower esters, or higher ester and lower proof is a mistake technically. It's like I don't know, it's unbalanced. In fact, there are a lot of spirits that when you smell in the nose, you expect something, then you drink, and it's completely different than the nose. The reason is that the proof was not correct for the kind of liquid. Okay.
So guys, so sorry. Let me say bye-bye. See you on Thursday. Thank you for today nights.
Yeah, I
Ciao
just wanted
bello.
to say that we have to finish.
Ciao belli.
Guys, if any of you have any question, just send me an email and I'll ask Daniele and I'll come back to you as far as I can. Okay? So, Daniele, thank you very much.
Dziękuję.
Dziękuję.
No, thank you so much, guys. I don't know what else to say. I love you. Speak soon. Come to Genoa.
Daniele, will you be
Drink
in
Clairin.
Poland? Maybe on this Ramlo festival this year, or maybe in Berlin?
Maybe, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. So
that would be a pleasure.
Drink Clairin. Preserve.
very much.
We have to save Clairin. That's why you have to drink it. We have to preserve this jewel. Okay.
We're doing what we can.
That might be a problem.
Maybe you
That
can
might be a
combine
problem.
it with Caroni somehow.
Yeah. Maybe we do a pack, Caroni and a bottle of Clairin together.
Exactly. So
Ciao,
one
belli.
more time. Thank you very much. We are switching for after meeting for a few minutes in Polish language. So we are ending the session, and one more time. Thank you very much, Daniele. We see each other
Ciao,
next.
bello. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Daniele, thank you very much. I'm sorry for our boring friends who wanted to go sleep early, but it was very